Hey guys, catching back for you, Lucifer, Season 1, Episode 2, Lucifer Stay, Good Devil, and I was looking forward to this episode. I really enjoyed the first episode. I was definitely surprised by it, and I gotta say, I'm really enjoying the show. I really am. I think this was another really great episode, and something I really like about this episode is that while there was a case going on, it was much more, again, about Lucifer, can he be a good person, and things like that, and I'm really enjoying the way the show's getting into that. But let's just get into this episode, because overall, I really did enjoy it, and, I really do want to talk about it. So we see Lucifer walks the streets. He come across a street preacher talking about how the devil walks among them. And amused, Lucifer insists that humans do plenty on their own. And the preacher privately asks what his problem is. And of course, Lucifer is the devil, so this kind of amuses him. And he refuses to share his tips. And Lucifer congratulates him on his performance. And when the preacher tries to walk away, Lucifer says that he hates charlatans and liars more than anything. He says that he's going to make the preacher a believer, briefly shows his true face, and screaming, the preacher says that Lucifer is the devil, throws his money to the ground, and throws money to the crowd, and runs away. So, you can definitely tell that Lucifer still is obviously the devil, but I love the scenes this episode in counseling. I thought they were definitely very Hannibal Bedelia-esque, very much like that. The only thing is that they're not taking it seriously here, and definitely the tone and points that I can't really tell if they want me to take it seriously or not, but I think the scenes here were actually pretty strong. Because in counseling, Lucifer tells Linda that he really is the devil, however, he's now taking a vacation in LA, and Linda isn't convinced. She doesn't think that he's really the devil. She thinks that he's just, playing her, and he agrees to work within his metaphor. And when she points out that the last time they talked, he was concerned about his feelings of humanity, he assures that it's no longer a problem, that he's not really worried about that. But Linda figures out that he's hiding his insecurity behind humor, and she says that he's concerned that he's changing and doesn't know why or who is responsible. And Linda then says that the session is over, jumps in for sex, and you can definitely tell those two are going to have a sexual relationship. But I like that he really is thinking about this. Why am I getting these feelings? What's going on here? So Lucifer returns to Lux, and Chloe secretly takes photos of him. Maze brings a drink over to her and says that Lucifer sent it over. Now, Maze is a character that I'm actually starting to really enjoy. I think they definitely did more with her here. I definitely liked her character. However, the demon refuses to say anything about how she knows Lucifer, and Lucifer then starts playing the piano. Chloe goes over. She says that Lucifer didn't exist 5 years ago and wonders how he survived being shot 5 times, which that is a very good question. I mean, he was shot 5 times, and yet he's alive. And Lucifer insists that he's told her the truth, but she won't accept it because she knows that he's the devil. She just doesn't want to think it's possible. I mean, imagine someone tells you that they're actually the devil, and their name is actually Lucifer, and that's really who they are. It doesn't sound believable, so I can understand why Chloe's not really believing him here. And after a moment, Chloe warms up and sits next to him, giggling. She confirms that he isn't wearing a bulletproof vest and insists that she'll figure out his secret. Lucifer wonders why he doesn't seem to have any effect on her. He doesn't creep her out. He can't read her. He doesn't know what's going on. And Chloe gets a call. She says that she owes the caller one and leaves, ignoring Lucifer. So the next morning, Chloe investigates the crime scene where a man died in a crime crash, and the investigating detective Dan, who, again, I am not a fan of Dan. I don't like his character. His character has literally just been yelling at Chloe. So he explains to the victim, Robbie Russell Jr. tried to lose Paparazzo. Nick, Hoffmeister lost control of his car and crashed, and Robbie's the son of a famous movie star, but Robbie Jr. wasn't in the business, and when Chloe expressed an interest, Dan warns that she can't be working a case while she's officially on medical leave, and complains that she brought Lucifer. And I get that he doesn't really trust Lucifer, but again, it just seems like he doesn't trust Chloe, he doesn't want her on this case, and again, if the whole show's just gonna be him yelling at Chloe because she's not on this case, because she's on a case, it's really fucking stupid. I just don't like Dan. I don't like his character. I hope they do something with him because I'm not a fan of him. So they can make it more interesting, definitely. He very much reminds me of a Hank Henshaw, who I really wasn't as big as a fan of, and I understood, his points, but the difference is, with Dan, it just, to me, seems like he doesn't want Chloe on these cases. It's her job, though. You kind of have to let her. So the next morning, Chloe investigates the crime scene. Oh, I just read this. So Chloe goes over to confront Lucifer, demands to know why he's there, which, is a good question. Why are you here? He says he is curious to know what affects her, and Chloe, because he's not affecting her. He's not really doing anything to her. So he wants to know, does something affect you? Do you not have emotions? He really doesn't know what's going on. So Chloe watches the police leave Nick away, and Lucifer notices her interest. She figures that Nick will figure a way out, and Lucifer tells Chloe to do what she desires and talk to Nick. He then drags drags Nick out of the car, and Chloe points out that he killed someone. She promises that he won't get away with it, and Nick says that he'll confess. Surprised, Lucifer asks Nick what he desires and uses his power. Nick insists that he wants to confess because he deserves it, and figures that it's his chance. He thinks that this is the best thing for him to do. So, however, he refuses to go further, saying that someone will do something if he does, and Dan comes over, warns Chloe and Lucifer that they're not supposed to be there, shoves Nick back in the car, and Chloe figures that the real murderer is still out there. They don't know who it is, she just knows that there definitely is a murderer out there. So Lucifer realizes that she's going to try and prove Nick's innocence, even though she despises Nick, obviously, she still is going to try to go out there and prove his innocence, which I thought was very interesting. So as the EMTs take away Robbie Jr.'s body, Chloe tells Dan that Nick is innocent. He doesn't see the problem when Nick confessed and doesn't understand when Chloe says that Lucifer made him confess, and Dan says that he'll do his job, tells her to take her sidekick home before he arrests him for smoking pot. And again, Dan just, the fact that he's not believing Chloe, the fact that he thinks Chloe's crazy, I understand that, but I just don't like his character. I really don't. I just find him very annoying. So Chloe goes over, stomps out the joint. Lucifer says that he found it in Nick's car. She points out that he's smoking evidence, and Lucifer doesn't see the problem. I thought this was a very funny scene. He's literally just smoking while, he's smoking evidence here. So Lucifer says that there was another joint in the car, but he smoked them as well. He wants it back to Lux, but Chloe refuses and walks away, and that night, Lucifer is in bed with a man and woman, and once they doze off, he goes to the bar, pours himself a drink, and then we see Amenadiel, who I'm just not a fan of this character. I don't know what it is. I don't like him. I don't like the actor. Just this part of the show, I don't like. The angel says that he's disappointed in Lucifer wasting away his existence. He says if Lucifer goes back to hell, then that he'll speak to Father. Lucifer says that figures that Amenadiel will have to take over hell if he doesn't come back, and the angel insists that it would never happen. The devil doesn't believe him, and the angel points out that Lucifer saved a human life because he cares about Chloe, and that's why he did it, and he warns that Lucifer's time on Earth is affecting him, and Lucifer isn't the one controlling the change, and definitely I think that's very interesting. Amenadiel says that that should scare Lucifer, and Lucifer tells him to go, and it's not so much that I'm not into Amenadiel, it's just that something about it's just too straightforward. I don't really need to see this. I don't need to see Amenadiel come out every second, basically just reiterate the same thing in a different way. I don't really care about that. So Robbie's death hits the news, and Chloe watches footage that the paparazzi took. Robbie Jr. shows him an advertisement for the Red Cross, and Chloe misses he did a better job than she did. Trixie comes out and notes that her mother looks guilty. She tells her daughter to get ready to meet with Dan, and Trixie, I'm surprised they're doing so much with her daughter. I didn't think we'd see much of her, but she actually is the main character, surprisingly. So we are going to see a lot of Trixie. So Lucifer turns up, wonders how Chloe affords the place, and Trixie hugs him. He tosses her doll away to get Trixie away, because obviously he doesn't like children. And I like that they show here, because I really couldn't tell, did Lucifer have a genuine connection with Trixie? No, he wants to get the fuck away. He doesn't like children. It's just that Trixie has a big, really cares about Lucifer and sees him as a friend because she's just a little girl. But Lucifer clearly doesn't give a fuck about her. So Chloe leads her to her bathroom, and when Lucifer mentions her brief movie career, Chloe says that Trixie doesn't know and doesn't want her to, obviously. It's just not something good for her. So she explains the house is her mother's, and she moved in, and Lucifer sees a poster for her mother, actress Penelope Decker. He wonders how Chloe rebelled, but she doesn't want to talk about it, and it's clear that Chloe just doesn't really want to discuss her past. It's something that she's kind of just kept hidden, and Chloe tries to get him out and locks the door, and at the station, Lucifer, and again, he's trying to read her. It's not working. It's just something about it. He has no effect on her whatsoever. Why he does, we just don't know right now, and I think that's very interesting. So at the station, Lucifer charms the dispatcher into letting him see Nick. He wants to know more about Chloe and insists that Nick is going to tell him everything. He thinks that Nick has the answer, and Lucifer explains why his power doesn't work on Chloe and figures that it's related to his recent bouts of humanity. That because of him getting this emotion, that's why he can't do it. So Nick says that Chloe's father died 2 weeks after she appeared in her movie, and that's why she doesn't want to talk about it, because her father died. And the reporter worries about the cost to his soul, and then he tried to keep other people from making the same mistake. And Nick refused to say who he was protecting, and Lucifer concentrates his powers on him. The reporter screams Lucifer to get out, and Lucifer leaves. So Chloe goes to see Robbie Sr., and he wonders why she's pursuing the case when Nick confessed, and she explained, she's convinced that Nick isn't the one that killed Robbie Jr., and that he's covering up for someone else. And the actor tells her that his son is dead because of him, and Chloe says that her mother is Penelope Decker, and it wasn't her fault the paparazzi followed her. She tells Robbie that it wasn't his fault that Robbie Jr. is dead, and Robbie says that there was one other paparazzi, but Robbie only noticed him once and never got a name. And as she goes, Chloe gets a call about Lucifer. Lucifer's at Lux, asks what is wrong with him. She realizes that he feels bad for invading Chloe's privacy because he shouldn't have directly asked her about the movie and everything, and tells him that Amenadiel is right, and Lucifer is changing. He really does feel that he is changing here, and Lucifer angrily warns her not to disrespect him, and his eyes turn red. Satisfied, Maze says that there's the Lord of Hell she knows, and Chloe comes in, and Maze realizes that Lucifer has gotten control of himself again, and she leaves, and Chloe warns Lucifer that the case has nothing to do with him, and that he really shouldn't be pursuing this case because it's her, because she's the one doing it. And I like that this is going on. Even though Lucifer is assisting her, she is the one that knows what she's doing. He really doesn't. He's just there for certain reasons. So Lucifer tells her that what he learned, and Chloe explains that someone has been uploading photos of Robbie Jr. from Nick's company, and the last one was posted an hour ago from a party that's still going on, and Chloe heads out and tells Lucifer to come with her so that she can keep an eye on him. And at the party, paparazzi are taking photos of the celebrities as they arrive. Lucifer and Chloe walk up. Chloe figures that the killer never left the scene of the crime. She looks around nervously. Lucifer wonders if she's okay, and Chloe figures that Nick told Lucifer what happened, and Lucifer figures that Nick wants redemption, and basically he then spots a familiar face among the paparazzi. The man sees them watching him, and the man, Josh Bryant, points out that Chloe is Penelope's son, and, Penelope's daughter, I mean. And basically, the other paparazzi take photos of her, giving Josh time to escape. Lucifer encourages Chloe to punch out the photographers, but she says that it isn't in her, and as she walks off, Lucifer turns his powers on one of the paparazzi. He says that he wants a Pulitzer, and then jokingly, on him, he starts fighting them, and Lucifer slips away while Chloe watches Josh drive away before she can stop him. So, honestly, a pretty intense scene. I really like this. So, the next morning, Chloe and Dan are at Chloe's house looking at the photos that the paparazzi took of her at the party. She worries that Trixie's going to find out about her movie career, and Dan gives her the plate number that he ran on Nick's car. It was a company car, and the car that ran Robbie Jr. off the road belonged to Josh. Dan figures his ex-wife is onto something and tells her to actually be really careful. I like seeing Dan genuinely concerned. I just don't like the character. I find him really annoying. So, Josh is taking photos of a celebrity when Lucifer blocks his shot. Chloe's with him. Josh claims that he's a big fan of Chloe as an actress, and Lucifer asks him what he wants. Josh says that he always wants to be first, and he tells him that he learned a lot from Nick and took photos of Nick being arrested for murder because he figures that Nick would have done the same. And as Josh takes more photos of the woman, Chloe notices a joint in Josh's car, and he says he has prescription, and a woman comes over, slaps his subject, and when Chloe points out that it's good timing, Josh says that he's lucky, drives off. Lucifer figures that the photo was planned, and Chloe wonders what else Josh planned, and basically back at Lux, Chloe goes over the website that Josh works for, and that notes that he always has the first, photos of all the incidents, and Chloe figures that Josh followed Robbie Jr., ran him off the road, and figures that Nick decided to take the fall. So, Lucifer doesn't care as long as they get to punish Josh, but Chloe warns that she needs concrete evidence. She needs to know that this is what's going on. So she warns Lucifer that he doesn't decide how someone gets punished and leaves, and I like that she's telling Lucifer, you know what, this is my job. You don't get to decide what you need to do. I'm going to tell you what you need to do, and that's true. This is Chloe. This is Chloe's job. Lucifer is just assisting her because she agreed to it. So Maze has watched the whole thing. Lucifer says that there's nothing else she has to say. Lucifer agrees with her, says it's time to deliver some punishment, and a smiling Maze follows him. It's clear that Maze still wants him to be the devil, and I really feel the way this is headed, Maze is definitely going to make Lucifer stop these feelings. She doesn't like what's going on. She doesn't like where Lucifer is headed, and she doesn't want him to have these feelings about Chloe. She just finds it very strange, obviously because he hasn't had them before. So, Chloe meets with Nick, tells him her theory about how Josh staged all the incidents. She asks what really happened. Nick explains he took Josh in when he was 16. Josh was a natural and wanted him to stop making the same mistakes that he did. And 2 days ago, Josh called, said that he was in a bad accident, and understood what Nick had been teaching him. And Nick took the fall to spare Josh and figures that Chloe is in fact enjoying his downfall. And Chloe forgives him, says that it's about Robbie Jr. She warns that Josh will do it again if Nick doesn't testify, and Dan then calls Chloe. She steps outside, tells her that Josh has gone missing, and when Chloe goes back, she discovers that Nick is gone. The female desk sergeant readily admits that Lucifer took Nick away, and Lucifer drives Nick to the crime scene, says that he understands that the paparazzo is a necessary evil. He tells him that his mistake was trying to change, and Maze drags Josh out of the trunk of her car. She cuts Josh free. Lucifer explains that they won't receive the punishment when they die because it's his fault. He's going to fix it, and says that they'll both get a gun. One of them will have to shoot the other one. I love this scene. I thought this scene was actually really great here. And when Josh hesitates, Lucifer points out that Nick is ready to rat him out of the police. And as for Nick, Lucifer notes that Josh is letting him take the fall for a murder he didn't commit, and Maze sets the guns on the street. Nick realized that Josh killed Robbie Jr. and that Chloe was wrong, that he did in fact do that. So Josh picks up a gun, says that his mentor lost his touch, figures that he was begging to take the fall. Nick says that he treated Josh like a son. Josh pulls the trigger. The gun's alone. Nick realizes that Josh would have killed him. He picks up the gun, gets ready to shoot Josh, but Chloe arrives, reminds Nick that he did try to do some good, and that really seems like it is the theme here. Did these people have good intentions? Much like Lucifer thinking, can I be good? Chloe's thinking, did you do this out of good intentions? What was your reason for doing this? She really thinks about the motive, which is very important when it comes to these sort of things. So Lucifer tells Nick that he should embrace who he really is, but Chloe says that Nick tried to change, and that's what's important. Lucifer and Maze watch, but Lucifer admits that they might be onto something, and Nick pulls the trigger. Lucifer prays to Amenadiel. The angel rise. Time slows to a crawl, and Lucifer admits that Amenadiel was right, takes the bullet out of the air. He then kicks the frozen Josh in the groin and tells Amenadiel that he has changed, and it feels thrilling, and he wants to change, and he doesn't care what Amenadiel thinks. And Amenadiel is surprised that Lucifer invited him there to tell him that. Lucifer says that he summoned him to remedy the situation, annoy him in the process, and the angel says that Lucifer should have taken the offer, flies off, and basically, time goes back to normal. Josh collapses, clutching at his groin. Chloe realizes that Lucifer has moved in a split second and says that it's impossible, and again, she doesn't want to believe that Lucifer is the devil, and she doesn't want to believe he has these powers, but she's clearly seeing them, so she definitely is questioning her sanity, which I definitely like seeing. So as Chloe gets Nick and Josh in the squad car, she asks Lucifer if he put blanks in the car, and she figures that he staged the whole thing to get a confession out of Josh, but he still doesn't understand how he moved instantly. She doesn't understand how that happened. So Lucifer points out that she knows how he'll answer, holds up the bullet, and later at home, Chloe takes a copy of her movie, and I like that she told Trixie straight out that she was an actress before she was a cop. It was something that Trixie needed to know. I like that she told her this, and she says that it isn't her anymore. Trixie says that she knows. Trixie has seen the movie before on the internet, complains the movie isn't in HD. The girl says that the movie was hilarious and they share a laugh. And when Trixie bumps her mother's arm from where Jimmy shot her, Chloe says that maybe she should see the man responsible. And basically, after sex, Linda points out that Lucifer did do a good deed, and he admits that not knowing what's coming next is quite exhilarating. He doesn't know what he's going to do because he's never felt this way before. He's never felt this power. He's never felt like he is, has some good in him, and he doesn't really know what happens next. So he admits that Linda was right about how someone may be changing him, and Lucifer wonders what to do with her because he doesn't know why this is going on here, and this is definitely very interesting. And then the ending of this episode, I definitely really love, because Chloe goes to the prison hospital. The doctor warns her that the patient is heavily sedated and barely coherent, and once they're alone, Chloe asks Jimmy what happened in the studio on the night that he shot her. If you remember, Jimmy was the one from the last episode, and when she mentors Lucifer, Jimmy basically panics, says that he can't get away from him. He slams his head into the protective window until blood flows, and as the orderlies pin him down, Jimmy shouts that Lucifer is the devil, and that's how the episode ends. So a lot of really great stuff here, guys. Like I said, I'm really enjoying the show. Mainly because while we do have these cases going on, a lot of it is Chloe wondering, am I going crazy? Is Lucifer really the devil? And you can definitely tell that Chloe is doing her own research on her own. She definitely doesn't trust Lucifer. She can tell there's something going on with him. She doesn't know why he just ran away like that. I mean, who just runs away? It's obviously not something that's normal, and she doesn't really know what's going on there. So I found all that very interesting. Um, Lucifer having good in him, what is really going to happen here? It really seems like Lucifer can't really, function because he has this good in him. He doesn't really understand why he has this good in him. What is making him, why can't he read Chloe? Why is he getting good in him? Why is he getting emotions? How can he get away from this? How can he go on? It's clear that Lucifer does want to change and he does want to experience new things because he never has before. So that's very interesting what's going on there. Maze, I'm really like the way they're saying it. Maze's character. Maze seems like she just wants to put Lucifer, where he belongs. She wants Lucifer to go back to hell. She wants him to be the devil. That's who he's supposed to be. He's not supposed to have emotions. He's not supposed to feel this way. He just does, and she obviously doesn't like it. She wants him to be the devil, but Lucifer doesn't want to. He's just thinking more of others, and he doesn't really want to do something like that. But it's clear that Maze does want to, and I find that very interesting, definitely. Um, let's talk about Amenadiel, because I understand what Amenadiel is trying to say, that, he's gonna end up being the Hell God, and I could honestly see them writing Amenadiel as the villain here, where he starts to get more powerful, he starts to get more upset. I could definitely see Amenadiel going in a dark path, while Lucifer goes to a good path. Could definitely be very interesting to see what happens there. I'm definitely interested in seeing where we're gonna go with that. I like finding out why Chloe's so ashamed of her movie, because her father died 3 years after she was an actress, which is very sad. Dan, for God's sake, Dan just needs to trust Chloe. I'm really pissed at Dan. I think he's a really annoying character. I don't dislike, okay, yeah, I do kind of dislike him. I don't dislike Amenadiel. I just don't really like the storyline. But Dan, I really do dislike. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but he's annoying. He doesn't trust anyone, and I'm not a fan of him. I don't like the character of Dan. I think he's really annoying. But overall, guys, I really did enjoy this episode. I do think that I don't know if this episode was I do think this episode, I think, was just as strong as the first one. I definitely will say that. And like I said, while there's a case going on, I think they did a very good job of connecting it to the real storyline. That storyline is, can Lucifer be a good person? Which I just find very, very interesting. You have the devil, who is, he's supposed to be the summon of all evil. He's supposed to make all evil acts, but he's doing good things. Is very interesting to watch, and of course he doesn't know what's going to happen next. We don't know what's going to happen next, and that keeps me watching. So I'm definitely going to stick with this show. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. I definitely really am enjoying the show, and I will see you guys next week, which will be for The Flash, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.